What's up, y'all? This is how to smash the 2 hour barrier for the half marathon. We're going to go over all the exact workouts, all the training strategies, all the pacing strategies, you name it. This video is going to help you smash that 2 hour barrier. So let's dive in and let's do this. And here we go. This is how to break 2 hours in the half marathon. Before we get too much further, down in the comments below, leave a comment with your half marathon PR. Let's see where everyone's coming at. Also, down in the description below, also down in the comments, I have a special link that if you want a sub 2 hour half marathon training plan made just for you, there's a link down below in those comments. Go and hit that, claim that training plan voucher, get that training plan for a special discounted rate, and go smash that 2 hour half marathon barrier. To get started, to run a sub 2 hour half marathon or a 1:59:59, that equals out to be 9 minutes and 9 seconds per mile or 5:41 per kilometer. Now, if you were to run that pace for an entire half marathon and run completely even splits, one, that'd be very impressive. And two, here's what you would be running. So your 5K split would be 28:25. Your 10K split would be 56:51. And you'd go through the 15K or 9.3 miles in 1:25:16. So there's three main training components to smash that 2 hour barrier. First and foremost is easy runs. I tell this to all my athletes, anyone that I coach, is if you want to get faster, spend more time running easy. Now, here's why. When you spend more time running easy, your body's going to adapt to the load, to the stress, and to that cumulative fatigue of continually running. Now, easy pace is conversation pace, meaning that as you're running, you should be able to carry a conversation with someone. If you can't, slow down. So to run a sub 2 hour half marathon, you really should not be going any faster than 10 minutes per mile on all your easy days. That also equals out to be about 6:13 per kilometer. Now, the second component is a little different than some other race distances. And for our sake today in this video, we're going to call it marathon pace workouts. So these workouts are done at a pace that's a little bit slower than half marathon pace, but still faster than your easy pace. So in this case, these marathon pace workouts will be around 9:20 to 9:30 per mile, or for our metric friends, about 5:13 per kilometer. Now, the last key component is this thing called intervals. So intervals generally are a shorter bout of exercise or shorter distance going at a harder or a greater intensity. In this case, to run a sub 2 hour half marathon, you want to be going at least 7:55 to 8:05 per mile or about 4:59 per kilometer. So what should my weekly volume be? Well, really, the answer is a little complicated, and I'm just going to say it depends. And I know that's not the answer you're looking for, but here's why. So there's a lot of different factors that play a role in how much you should be running. First and foremost is the amount of years that you have been running. Also, if this is your first half marathon, if you've run other distances and you've never done a half, versus if this is your 100th half marathon, you're going to be able to handle the training a little bit differently too. Kind of going off of that, what is your average volume of training per week over the last 6 months? Have you been running 10 miles a week? Have you been running 50 miles a week? Have you not been running at all? Depending on where you're coming from, that is how much you should be running in this training plan. Kind of piggybacking off of that is your injury history. Do you get injured when you start running more miles? Have you been injured at all in the last 4, 5, 6 months? If you've been injured before, or you're coming back from an injury, you're going to want to adapt your training plan to make sure that you don't get re-injured, but two, that you're gradually increasing your strength and stamina and endurance in a proper manner. Another component is gender. Males versus females will adapt and handle the load a little differently. And last but not least, I think this is often overlooked, but there's this thing called grit. And grit is kind of your mental fortitude or how mentally strong you are. To run a longer race, you're going to have to be able to be a little bit stronger mentally. Nothing against people who only run 5Ks and 10Ks, but 5Ks and 10Ks are a whole different animal than half marathons and marathons. Yes, you're training specifically for it, but a half marathon and a marathon, you're going to want to be able to be comfortable with that training load and be comfortable, waking up on the weekends and doing those long runs and spending more time on your feet than you would in a 5K or a 10K. So in my opinion, to run a sub 2 hour half marathon, you're going to want to average a minimum of 30 miles per week. Now, I'm not saying start at 30. I'm not saying end at 30. I'm saying an average over a whole training plan is you want more than 30 miles per week. If you're still watching, hit that subscribe button, smash the thumbs up button, share this with all your friends, and let's keep going. So how many days a week should you be running? Well, minimum 4 days a week. Sweet spot's kind of 5 to 6 days a week. You can do 7 if you want, but 4 to 6 is kind of the golden area. But really, the most important thing to remember when you're training for a half marathon is consistency is where the gains come in. If you can consistently commit and do the same amount of runs per week, you're going to get the gains, you're going to get faster. So how long should this training plan be? Well, that also depends. If you are new to the distance, you're going to want to spend more time getting used to it. Already in shape to run a longer race, you probably don't need to do as long of a training plan. So I'd say the range is between 12 weeks to 18 weeks. If you're brand new to this distance, err on the side of 18 weeks, anywhere from 16 to 18 weeks. If you've done this before, you're already in good shape, you've already run some longer races this year, you could probably err on the 12 to 14 weeks for this training plan. What should my week look like? Well, there are 3 things you want to remember in your week. One is the long run. To run a long race, you need to do a long run. We're also going to do at least one good quality speed session, usually in the middle of the week, and then everything else should be easy. So if you broke it down on the calendar, this is what it would look like. Monday and Tuesday would generally be easy. Wednesday would be your quality day. Thursday and Friday would be easy, and then Saturday or Sunday would be your long. So we talked about marathon pace before. Here are some specific workouts you can do. So what I like to do with my athletes is have them warm up, then have them do 3x2 miles or 3x3 kilometers for our metric friends, and then do a cool down at the end. In between those reps, you're going to have 3 to 4 minutes of easy recovery running, and you're going to go into the next rep. Now, remember the pace for this marathon pace is 9:20 to 9:30 per mile, or about 5:51 per kilometer. Another good workout you could do is 6x1 mile or 5x2 kilometers. Again, you're going to have a little bit of recovery between the reps, but you're going to be targeting that 9:20 to 9:30 pace. We also talked about intervals. Remember, intervals are a shorter distance that you're running at a greater intensity. So one of my favorite workouts that I do in any distance is our 10 by 400 meter repeats. So what I like to do is I'll warm up and then do 10 by 400, where I'll go 400 hard, 400 easy, 400 hard, 400 easy, and do that over the course of however many miles that is until I hit 10 reps. Now, if you are new to this distance or you're new to speed work, you could probably get away with doing 6 to 8. But to really hit that sub 2 hour mark, you're going to want to make sure that you can do a little bit more of them. The pace you want to do these intervals at are about 8 minutes per mile or about 4:59 per kilometer. Another workout you could do is 6x1 kilometer. What I really like to do with my 1K repeats is I'll warm up, I'll do 1K hard, and then my recovery will actually be the remaining 600 meters or so of that mile, or the 1600. So I'll go 1K hard, 600 easy, 1K hard, 600 easy, and then I'll cool down at the end. So one of the easiest workouts you can do is add a little bit of marathon pace in the middle of that long run. So you warm up, you do 4 to 8 miles at marathon pace, and then you do a cool down at the end. Now, if you're early on in the training plan, you're going to do a little bit less. If you're later on in the training plan, you can do a little bit more. But this is going to help build that lactic threshold and help build that ability to run at that half marathon goal pace. Another workout you could do is called a progression run. So a true progression run will have you start at a very easy pace and finish at a hard pace. What I challenge my athletes to do is start easy and finish hard and make those last few miles where you're finishing hard faster than your goal race pace. One of my other favorite workouts to do during a long run is what I call the half pipe. So with the half pipe, what you're going to do is you're going to start easy. You're going to do 2 or 3 miles at your marathon pace. Then you're going to hit easy recovery mode through the middle. So you go down the half pipe. Then you come back up the other side and you're going to go 2 miles, 2 or 3 miles at marathon pace again. And then you're going to cool down. So you're going to start hard and finish hard. What this does is it helps your body get used to running hard in the beginning and running hard at the end while maintaining that easy recovery pace in the middle. So how should I pace myself on race day? Well, there's a lot of different things you need to remember. First and foremost, know the course. Is it a true downhill course? Are there hills in it? Is it uphill? Are there any tight turns? Know the course well enough that you can see it in your head and you can be able to adapt to whatever you need to do. The second factor is weather. Now, I come from Florida and I've run a lot of races in really miserable, hot, humid conditions. And I've also run a lot of races in really cold conditions out here in Utah. The important thing to remember is depending on the weather, your body is going to handle the pace a little differently. So make sure you adapt and prepare for what you need to do. Kind of piggybacking off of that is your race nutrition and hydration. If it's really hot, you're going to want to take on more fluids and nutrition. If it's really cold, you're going to want to prepare because your body's going to use fuels a little differently than it would in typical running weather. Lastly, make sure you recognize how you feel. So if you get to the starting line and you feel like garbage, don't go guns a-blazing the first couple miles. Start running, ease into it a little bit, focus on how you feel, and just roll with it. The half marathon and marathon can be really unforgiving if you go out too hard in a race. So make sure you prepare, make sure you watch how you feel, and just get after it. So my biggest piece of advice with all of this is train like you race and race like you train. So that's how to smash 2 hours in the half marathon. Remember, down in the comments below, there's that special link to get that training plan voucher. If you're ready to smash that 2-hour barrier, get that training plan, start running, go set some PRs, and we'll see you in the next video.